Peace and love, y'all. It's your brother A.D.V.I.S.S, and we're back here with another episode of What's the Word Wednesday, Season 2, Episode 4. So, as we usually do, I'm going to put in the topics for today, as well as we're going to try again. We'll see if I can put the picture in our logo. But if we cannot, once again, we will just say forget it. But we'll just pop it up real quick. I see that it's doing the same thing again. So we'll just leave it at that. But as y'all coming in, let your brother know how you been, what's going on around in the world, and what's going on with you. What's the word? Good to see y'all back up. What's going on, Don? Peace to see you up in here, brother, man. What's the word? How you doing? Just starting up right now. Unanimously answered, there's no question. But I hope everyone is all well. Things have been going great on everybody's end. If not, I'm sending out that love, peace, and strength to all who are listening now, and to those who be listening later and on YouTube. Much love to y'all. It's been a while, man. I'm doing pretty good. I'm glad to hear that, brother. And I haven't got to tap back in with you, but I definitely do like the content that you were dropping, my G, especially with the different dance covers, as well as a lot of your other singing covers. So please keep that up, brother. Keep it up. There's no question I bring balance to this life. You already know. Chris is in the building, y'all. Co-host, the aliens have arrived. Answer, there's no question, y'all. All right. With that being said, I know I usually give a little bit more time for people to get in, but I'm feeling it today. We chilling, we good. So let's go ahead and just get into the show song and get this show started. And y'all let me know how I sound, if I sound good. I did a little other setup, so let me know you can at least hear me, and you can hear the songs too. But it's how it goes. If you want to sing along, here we go. What's the word, y'all? What's the word? What's the word, y'all? What's the word? What's the word, y'all? What's the word? What's the word? What's the word? What you heard? We gotta know, yeah, what's the word? So once again, peace and love, y'all. It's your brother A.D.V.I.S.S, and we are back with another episode of What's the Word Wednesdays. This is Season 2, Episode 4. And shouts out to Chris in the building, as well as Hassan. I see you up in here, brother. Peace and love, peace and love. What's the word? So with today's episode, I know we didn't get into a lot of it last time and we postponed it, but it is all good. So for today's episode, we're going to be getting into these 3 topics and any others that come up. So don't be afraid. If y'all have anything, please throw it in the comments. Please come on and engage. This is a community open live. So please come in and but really please be a part of this. So with the topics for today, we got, again, of course, current events, figuring out what's going on around us in the world. Then we're going to get into the social dilemma and what that is, what it means. And then lastly, we're going to speak on signs you're being manipulated. So how to detect and figure those things out. A lot of us know a lot of these things, but I just wanted to bring it up to be another talk and another convo to have. So with that, y'all, let's get into these current events. And I see you and I said, put me on the hook. Hey, Chris, you never know. All I know is I haven't even done the song just yet, but just know that is the show song instrumental. So the song to be continued whenever it gets finished. But yeah, keep that in mind. What's going on? Fred Words in the building. Good to see you, my G. Bye, y'all. So, with current events, y'all throw some current events and what's been going on with y'all. Please let me know. Most of the stuff that I've been seeing currently still is just revolving around the whole situation with, of course, the pandemic and the shots and people figuring out what to do against all these different strains of the virus and so on and so forth. So that's most of the news. I'm gonna go through a few articles, at least just headlines, and then just a little pieces of them, but this is all related to just the situation with the pandemic and things that I found, once again, interesting to know. So one of the first things that I saw, at least article wise, just recently, this is basically about today. So there was the whole situation with people figuring out how effective is it to wear 1 mask, 2 masks, or however many more when it comes to combating, CV. We'll just for the code name is CV. And it says in here, and this is NBC News. It says double masking can block more than 90% of the viral particles, and this is what the CDC is saying. So if nobody knows, the CDC is the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. This is where a lot of people are getting, of course, their information, as well as getting all of their, requirements and tips on how to keep themselves healthy. So, according to CDC, they're saying that if you wear double the mask, it improves the higher ability to combat these different particles, which I've also seen that now again it is reemerging to being viral, not being airborne again, because of the contagiousness of these variants, especially the one that came out of Africa specifically. So now they wanted to double up on masks. So just letting y'all know, that's one piece that I saw. So from the CDC, they said doubling up 90% to help against it. So just letting y'all know. Next thing, we have, and this is the biggest one that got me. So I was like, I want to read a little bit more into this. So I have the article up. I haven't read it, but CNN, and this is today's, has said that fully people who got the shots, double doses, can skip COVID quarantines. And this is again from the CDC. So it says that people who have been fully dosed against CV, and I'm paraphrasing right now, means that you need to have 2 of the doses, as well as I see that you would have to test negative from your prior test, can skip if they are exposed to someone with the infectious virus. So they can skip out on this. Double the mask equals double the profits. You know where I'm at with that. You know, we right here with this. And then the funny thing is, there's another article that was talking about that there was a scam being ran about the N95 mask, which is supposed to be one of the very effective masks against the whole situation with the pandemic. And there was a whole debacle about that, with people scamming people in these masks, and I didn't look too much into it, but like I said, y'all, all the information that I give y'all, just make sure to go do your own research on it and to just always double check on it. But I usually get these resources, once again, either from MSN, from CDC, or the Health Organization, all the different articles that are here. But if you have gotten both of the doses and have shown a negative test prior, you can skip out on the quarantine whole situation. So I thought that interesting. The other thing I didn't really get to see here, there was a whole article about the World Health Organization. Oh, what's going on? JJ Prime is a legend in the building. What's going on, G? The WHO also announced a major update for the whole situation too. I haven't got into it, but just to let y'all know, if y'all want to know more about what's going on with a lot of scientists and health officials figuring out what's going on with CV, please just Google and do your due diligence, because at the end of the day, we're all in this situation together, and it's having a big impact on how we live in our livelihoods. So if a lot of us, thrive on definitely human interaction, which we do, but your jobs in certain situations does. If you're a musician, whatever it may end up being, take note, because then you're going to have to figure out how you're going to move and maneuver with all of these different announcements on how to combat these things and how other things are supposed to be. So just be ready, gain that knowledge and get it. Yeah. What's good, my dude? Much love to you, Pimp. Keep being great. Shoot, that's what we doing, my G. Appreciate you coming in and taking your time. If anybody saw the post too that I said, what is the most valuable thing, or the most valuable thing that you have and you can share to someone? For me personally, it's time, and I appreciate y'all for the time and support y'all come and show me. So much love to y'all. And what's going on? The brother Sabu Smooth in the building, the one and only, y'all. All right, but news wise, that's what I've seen. It's mostly been around the whole situation with CV. I did speak on last live about the enrolling of schools and how they're weighing in on how they want to handle the rollout, which a lot of schools wouldn't be doing that until next school year, but some schools are trying to go half in this year. But teachers have a certain feel that they need when it comes to a lot of it. But I spoke on that last time. I'm not going to come and bring it back up, but just know that's a continual thing. As well as another funny thing for me in the news is they're still looking to impeach Trump way back when. Mostly what I think logically that is too, so that he can never run again. But that's going on as well. And other than that, the only other thing that's caught me, at least news-wise, and y'all throw some in here if anything news-wise has caught y'all, is there was a news article talking about how Joe Biden and the Democrats were working on a particular bill. I don't know if it got passed yet or anything, that is supposed to forgive a lot of student loan debt. Originally, they were thinking $10,000. Now they're saying up to $50,000, but then they're going back and forth. I don't know, but like I spoke before, I will. Once I see it, then I'll be like, okay, that is for sure a thing. Let me see the bill. Let me see that you passed it. Let me see that it's being dispersed. But that's it. I don't know anything else about that. Just gotta slow it down. That's all I gotta end up saying. But other than that, this is all I got for news. I don't have much more that's really caught my eye. There's a lot going around in the world that I can speak on still about Myanmar and that whole government takeover coup, and how a lot of people are still not able to contact family members and things because that place is in a whole state of disarray. As well as I know there's been a long going protest in India with all of the farmers and how they're being mistreated. I know there's a lot of things going on around in just the world globally, just not only in the US. So I do take a note of that, but I'm not always very precise with knowing everything. So that's all I know for right now when it comes to current events. If y'all have any questions or what y'all want to speak on, please just throw them in the chat. I appreciate y'all. But with that, let's move to the next topic. which I've been wanting to speak on this because I want to see what people think about this. But we got the next topic is talking about the social dilemma. But let's see, we got the sister, the AK coming up in here. Let's see, make your way up in here.
Hey, Calvin.
What's going on, Chris? What's
Nothing
the
much.
word?
The word is up.
Said the word is up.
Yeah, because that's where we going.
We just going up from here
Up,
to the
up,
moon, y'all. To the moon and beyond.
and beyond. We're going to that star behind Sirius B, where
Yeah,
life
because you gotta
originated
be
in the
serious. You get
star,
it? Serious B. We gotta be serious.
so the aliens
Not
come from.
serious like the radio, but we gotta be serious like we want to get this stuff done. All right.
No,
I'm just playing.
like
I'm just playing.
like getting you hyped, getting you all,
Yeah.
getting you all worked up.
What's up,
So,
KZ, my brother? What's going on, my G? What's the word? But what's good,
which
Chris? What's good? What's
um,
good? What's good?
which one are we talking about? Which social dilemma? There's a lot.
What happened?
Which social dilemma are we about to dive into?
Oh, I wanted it to be as general as possible, but I was going to specifically speak on the the movie slash documentary that was done
Mm-hmm.
called The Social Dilemma. I was going to
Oh,
speak a little bit to that, and then I was going to pair it in together with whatever we want to speak on the social dilemma is. But wherever you want to go with it, shoot, you go ahead. And if you want to get it started, go ahead.
oh, I don't know. Let's talk about that documentary movie first, because I'm interested.
Okay, I got you. KZ, bro, I appreciate you, bro. That's right. All I have to say is don't Photoshop your life and miss out on your real life.
But I love
That's
photos.
facts, my G. You don't want to do that. If you just fake everything in front just to put up a front, guess what? You're really missing out to build up on the person that is really living here right now. So, and there's a lot of beautiful things you can learn about that person if you take the time and don't try to go pretend something else. But facts, bro. He said, dang, don't do that. Do what, bro? Give me specifics. What? But
Don't do it.
all right. When it comes to the social dilemma, I was recommended this not only by my uncle, but I was recommended by about 4 other people
Okay.
to watch this because we speak about it a lot. Yeah, the social dilemma. Yeah. Um, we speak about how much technology is a positive, but we see a lot of the negative repercussions in what it is doing. A lot of people say that the social media is really not even social in its own state of what it's saying. So, not to spoil too much of the documentary, there's a lot of different notable people from different well-known organizations, whether it's Google, whether it's Twitter, Instagram, you have Apple, you have people from, I think I saw Reddit on here if I'm correct. Let me go down and make sure. But there's a number of different people that were in this. Firefox is in here, Mozilla Fox, yeah, that makes sense. But there's a number of different people who are on these, who are heads on these different social medias and places, and they're coming and talking about what was created from that and how it has fully impacted the generation and how people interact and speak and see each other, to a
Mm-hmm.
point where you begin to see that social media is not a tool per se, because of the fact that what a tool originally is for you to be used. But
Right.
now it's like we're being used by it because of how addictive and how strong it is. So the whole documentary, movie, whatever you want to end up calling it, goes into that deeper, and people speak on how they had to end up making other different, not only slides and presentations to make people aware of this, but then some people have to step down and say, yo, this is taking the the state of humans the reversed way. It's not even progressing people in a certain way. So I want to separate from this and now create a way to help people at least learn how to manage it even better, to get back to the point where it's not being used, we're not being used, but we are using it as a tool in the first place. So, I mean, there's a lot more in it too. There is the part where it's the realistic people doing that, but then there's also some dramatization of actors in there giving you a scenario, showing you what ends up happening and what's being seen nowadays with youth and people using social media. So I liked it. It was pretty dope.
I
Um, I mean,
I
it was
looked.
insightful. A lot of it I knew already, but it was definitely great to see these people that honestly, if we were to really think about it, like, all right, who really knows who's like the head analyst at Apple, or who is the marketing director at Google? Like, we don't know all these different people, but you know those people have a hand in how Google and how Apple is ran without us even knowing, as well as Instagram. So it was very nice to see that these different people who are there. So then you get a key into like, yo, hey, it's very true that a lot of these people, one, are human. Two, you can find out about them and know. And then three, there's just a number of different substances to show you that they're like, yo, this is not really for what I need it to be. What you showing right now?
I like this. So I looked it up as we were talking, and I like this one. The question poses, "What is an example of the social dilemma?" And
Yes.
social
You got
dilemmas
to read it
arise.
to me. I can't see it.
Yeah, yeah. Social dilemmas arise when an individual receives a higher payoff for defecting than cooperating when everyone else cooperates. A great
Mm.
example of a social dilemma is to imagine yourself out with a group of your friends for dinner. Before the meal, you all agree to share the cost equally. That was one example of the social
Mm.
dilemma. So instead of paying your own, so like just splitting it down the middle,
Okay.
that's like a literal like
Sense
social.
of what the social dilemma is. Okay, a social dilemma is. All
Yes,
right.
so that's
Before I
what it is.
let you continue, let me see. The brother Saab, you said, I feel like the social dilemma brought awareness, but the warnings it gave have been hard for many to take action against because of the addictive nature of tech and socials. Yes, and I always say this, and I will continue to say this until it's ingrained in people's heads. But when you look at the word, and we're on the platform right now,
Mhm.
Instagram, it's an instant gram of gratification. It is literally a drug because of the fact of how much it gives a dose of dopamine, which is a neurotransmitter that goes into the mind, which is that pleasure transmitter. And that's what Instagram is. It's giving you that an instant gram. You think a gram, that's dope. It's the dope dopamine that comes to you. So you feel good every time you scroll, you get a like, post, comments, all of that. It's literally rewarding you for hours and hours on end. So why would you want to go do something that takes a little bit more hard work to do when you can get an instant pleasure from just scrolling and looking at stuff? So yes, brother, yes, it's very hard because once you got people hooked on this stuff, man, it's hard to get people off. I This is a saying, and I may be completely wrong with it. Don't quote me for it. But usually when somebody is addicted, or if they are have experienced something that they're used to in their norm of what they've learned, it usually takes twice as long to unlearn that. So if somebody's been on social media for about 4 or 5 years heavily, for them to really have finally went through the process of going through and rehabilitated or at least calmed it down, between that 4 to 5 years, double that is 8 to 10 years. And that's very scary in itself as well too, of how long that ends up taking. But like I said, that is just something that was a saying, may not be true, but for the most part, some of it to me makes logical sense that it will take twice as long for something you've learned to unlearn it. But go ahead, Chris, handle it.
Oh, I like this other question right here that comes up. Is the social dilemma true? And then down here it says, it's true that people don't know enough about what they agree to share when what is at risk by sharing that data. I think that's pretty deep. So it's like it arises.
Wait, say that last part one more time, Chris. You started cutting out on me. One more time.
Okay, the last part, or what is at risk by sharing that data. So they number
Mm,
one know enough about what they're agreeing to, and then
okay.
they also don't know risk that comes out of sharing all of this information, their personal information, all of that. So I think
Okay.
that kind of, I don't know, that for me speaks more to our, I want to say ignorance is the word because lack of knowledge, but that's
Mm,
a triggering word for most. So I'll say
yes. And it's a
limit
misunderstood word. I will
things.
I will definitely say, I will definitely say, in a sense, it is a bit when it comes to lacking knowledge,
Yes.
but as the way the word is broken down, it's more, at least in my opinion, you can, like I said, it's my perspective, what I've seen. Ignorance is really the fact of you ignoring, you're in a state of ignoring the fact that something is there and you're
Mm-hmm.
just deciding I'm not going to. So you know it. You know that there's information about this stuff. You may not know everything about it, but you know that it's here. But you're deciding to say, you know what? Nah, it's not happening. It's not real. So people know that racism is real, but some people is like they don't know specifically, okay, what other parts of racism. There's internalized racism, there's redlining, like specifics. They know it's a thing, but
Mm-hmm.
they're just like, yeah, nah, it's not in my reality. Ignorance is bliss. Boom.
Right. So interesting.
So
I'm
I
gonna
feel
have
that.
to watch.
Sorry, continue.
I'm gonna have to watch this tonight because it says it's on Netflix. So cool. I have that. But
Great.
yeah, I'm kind of detached from the world as a whole. So all of this information is like, I mean, it's known. It's like a known unknown for me.
Yeah. All right,
That makes,
unknown. Okay, Samuel L. Jackson
yep,
from the
exactly.
Boondocks. Okay, the unknowns of
No,
the unknowns.
no,
Got you.
yes,
Yes, yes.
yep.
Oh my
That's
goodness.
yeah. But it's like for me, it's a known unknown or a unknown known. Either way, it's like half and half for me. Because I'm not really active in the world.
Yeah,
Like shared with you, we don't have like TV here, so we don't have like news or anything. We don't watch that stuff. I get my information from like the things I am interested in looking into, and then
yeah,
just like from people talking, and then you go in, and of course you gotta like dig deeper. I don't take anything for like face value.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, so this is all this. I didn't know this was like a documentary. I didn't know this was going on. Like
yeah,
it's,
yeah.
um,
This,
the new
I
world.
heard about this when it first came out, and
This
I
was
just never got looked into it. I just always kept it as a tab to always come back to and look into, because once I saw the picture of it being on a phone and everything else, I had already a good sense just from inferring. I'm like, okay, this is gonna be talking about social media in a sense when it comes to that dilemma and how it's affecting the human race and just generations now and how that can impact generations going further. So I was like,
yeah.
okay, I'm gonna look into that when the time comes.
They don't even want to. They don't want to go to school anymore. Like I remember when we were, of course, when we were in high school, and it's like okay, college was like like pushed kind of like on us, but at the end of the day, you did have like your choice if you wanted to go or not. But
Yeah.
it's seeming like these the kids of the new generation, they don't feel a need for school because
Yeah.
I can go on Instagram and become Instagram famous, or I can do something on TikTok, and I can, they want to be influencers more. So now
Yeah.
is what the chatter is.
We're in
um,
a definitely interesting place when it comes to that. I am a supporter of kids definitely doing self-learning, but then
mhm,
also doing instructional learning from an elder or someone else.
right.
It could be in the school setting, even though we know how terrible the school system can be when it comes to learning different concepts and stuff. It's very washed with so much unnecessary stuff that doesn't actually pertain to helping people in their immediate existence in life. But like, yes, we get it. But the whole thing too, when it comes to education, and I always like using this, and I keep on forgetting if it's from Greek, Roman, or what is the root. But there's the root word called "E.D.V.I.S.S," which means to bring forth and bring out. And I know just my experiences going through school, and everybody else, you can, if it's the same, you can definitely shout back and say that too. But I know for me, when I went to school, I noticed that a lot of that learning, or at least that push that was supposed to be pulled out of me to want to learn, to be a lifelong learner. People know about SLEs, student learning expectations, all this other stuff. A lot of that from the teachers, especially if they didn't care, I didn't care. I was like, why does this apply to me? Where does this help me? But if I was really interested in something and I really wanted to get more into it, what's going on, Kundin, I
Yeah.
literally I literally took my time to go ahead and learn more about it. For me, in elementary school up to middle school, because I went to K through 8, so I had both all of that together. Um, for me, it was spelling. I never liked history, and I know now why I never liked history, because of knowing how whitewashed history was. Even into high school, I didn't like history,
It,
and I was taking an AP history class. So you think
yeah.
I'm up here and supposed to be in this taking AP history, but I was really shown that literally, yes, you have to. I mean, a part of this is you have to be, um, you have to take the education for yourself. So yes, you have to take on that responsibility. I get that, but when you don't have a quality education and you don't have quality teachers really teaching you not only the material but how that applies to your life. So not just the understanding, but the understanding of how that affects you. Yes, I'm getting into that. The overstanding and the outer standing of things, kids are not going to attach to it. I didn't attach to a lot of stuff. I attached to what really resonated with me. So when it
Mm,
came to the schooling, I get a lot of the kids nowadays are like, yo, why do I gotta learn about such and this? Like, if I wanted to learn how to, build a cabinet, why do I gotta know that? And I was like saying, it's the Magna Carta was signed at this date, or um, people ended up going from Boston with the Tea Party, and this is like, it is important. We got the
yeah.
information to know that's on the timeline. But if
Right.
I wanted to know how to build a cabinet that's going to help my family be able to put foods and things and stuff in there, why can't I learn that? Why I don't have wood shop? Why don't I not have these different classes that would actually teach me a skill that
Yeah.
I can pair with this information? But
Yeah.
I get it. A lot of the kids are getting, I get it. There's a lot of influencers now and people showing that you don't need to go to school to be successful. Yes, that is true. But the main thing that's not being told to a lot of the kids and to a lot of people is that, guess what? You just can't jump into these things. You need to have a plan. Okay,
Mm,
I see that. Okay, Bill Gates. I see. Mark Zuckerberg. Oh, I saw all these other different people that decided to skip out on high school or just not go to school. Period. And what did they do? Let me study. What did they do? Oh, they had to do this, they had to do that. Like, so you can come up with a plan and just be like, I don't want to go to school no more. Okay, then what you gonna do? Cool, you don't want to go to school, but what you gonna do? You gonna keep learning about what is something that you like. What do you enjoy? What brings you the most joy doing? What skill do you have with that? Where can you find yourself doing that? And how can you do that differently from other people, since we're in this whole thing of competition and, capitalism? How are you going to do a lot of that? So my thing is, I'm with
Mhm.
people always doing their own self-learning, because we continue to learn every single day, day in and day out. So please get that love for learning. Second, yes, I'm with there being instruction, but intentional instruction. Not just I'm gonna teach to a test and kids gonna forget after, because we got to
Right.
get these numbers up to get this funding for these schools, but intentional to the fact that it is teaching people how to be autonomous and really critical thinkers. But
Okay.
that's a part of the situation that doesn't want to be put in school. We don't want you to critically think unless you critically think on how you're going to get that promotion in the next spot in your job, or how you're going to end up working that one line for another job. So
That's
it's
what I was upset about. That I had to wait all the way until college to learn about critical thinking. Like all of the curriculum we had in high school, yeah, it was like a lot of like, okay, my hardest class was Mr. Chavez's class because it was like history, and then it was like going all the way back to like the beginning of our time that we know. So like
Lex Files.
yeah, BC, like Files. Yes, yes, yes. It was just like a lot of work, and if you didn't have like the willpower, which I will say as a sophomore, I did not have the willpower to define all 1,000 whatever words that he had on his 5 whiteboards. You know what I mean?
Woo!
That's
Well, you already know me. I loved words. So when I saw he had that and I started learning the Greek and Latin roots, that was one aspect of the class. I was like, I can get into that because I like the words, and then learning how to break them down. But I feel you. Continue.
But if you don't have that, it's overwhelming and it's kind of like it feels like whoa. But it was history course nonetheless. So not really a lot of critical thinking, but just more like a one long story time, study hall story time. Reading what happened, answering questions about like what you just read, and then all the other stuff you put on there that was like extra.
Yes.
Um, but if you didn't really have any like just like critical thinking courses, I feel sad that I had to wait until college, and that's when I got my willpower.
Yeah.
Was during that time. I was like, oh, okay, I can actually do this now. I get it. Okay, I get to pick the classes I want to learn about. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So it's not just like a
What's up,
generalized,
Cuzzo?
but it's just so unfortunate. Like I think, because with those kids that we're talking about who want to be just like influencers, and I'm not talking about the ones who want to do trade school because I believe in trade school, because that just reminds
Yeah.
me of like apprenticeships, like when we learn about Renaissance, like art history is my jam because art is like my major. That's the thing. Like I'm very
Yeah.
passionate about art. Like when you learn about all the craftsmen and the craftsmiths back during the Renaissance, they always had apprentices. You were learning from a master. They were called
Yeah.
masters because they were
Peace,
well versed.
peace, Blossom.
Oh, that's my cousin. Hi. So when you look at it like that, I agree with what you're saying. You have to have. It may not be. Maybe in school is not your thing, but if you're learning from another person, a mentor, a master in the craft or the field or the trade, you're still getting that knowledge for growth.
Yes.
And that's what kind of like worries me with the ones that are like, okay,
Arts.
I just want to be an influencer, or I can make money by, these brands finding me, these
Yes.
brands like I post, and then now I'm flashing the brand and I get
Yes.
paid for that. But it goes back to at the beginning, which is like, how do we not be used by these tools? You're being used. at that
Yes.
point. You know what I mean? And I understand from the other perspective, people may feel, defensive and like, I'm not being used. They're paying me for my time. They're paying me because I'm showing off the brand. But at the same time, like, are they really paying you what you're worth? Are
Mm.
you getting
Mm.
a place that's going to get you stability? Because yes, we are transitioning into this new world, but the foundation is very systematic. Like,
Yes.
you've got to have where's your retirement plan? Where's your
Yes.
401k? Where's your you may be making all that money now, but when you look down the road, are you saving that money? You know what I mean?
Longevity.
Are you investing so that you can get a
Mm-hmm.
return for when you get
Mm-hmm.
older? Or is that in the moment, in the now, while I'm young, I'm racking it up kind of like ordeal. And that's just my
Yes.
only concern with like the mindset of like, oh, social media is the next, like job opportunity. Like you don't have to go to school. Like I don't know. It's great, follow your dreams, but I don't know. I'm a person who I need a safety net. I always need something to fall back on, and that's even if I have a stable job. I still
Yeah.
have to have something lined up just in case, because plus or minus, there's a lot of you never know what happens in life. A lot of variables, a lot of
Yes.
curveballs. So that's where my, my fear in the social dilemma lies.
Yeah. Is and I mean that's important that we're aware of that and aware of what's going on socially. That's why I stress definitely awareness, and I stress, and what I mean by stress, I'm really wanting people to push for a lot of these things and knowing what you want to end up doing, because you can fall. Look it, life once again is as hard as you want to make it.
Mm-hmm.
So why would you want to make it hard on yourself, not knowing what you really want to do? And I get it. It's going to take time for you to figure out what you want and what really moves you. But
Mm-hmm.
the thing with that too is you have to actively look for that. It's just not going to come and once again, it's not going to
Right.
come and give it to you on a silver platter. I know that's an oversaid saying, but it's not. That's not how life ends up working. You have to put effort into something to get something out. This world, you, me, none of this is, we're not guaranteed anything. We're not, I don't come on the world and then I'm like, okay, you get an award. We're going to give you all of these different things in the starter pack and to do all of this. This is not Monopoly that you get
No,
200
don't
and
start with.
go. It is a game, but it's not Monopoly. I'm not
Yeah,
guaranteed any much things. I got to go out there and
it's
work for it, and whatever that may end up being. And as I go on this journey, which that's the beautiful part of this whole journey, is the journey itself, is that's where you learn a lot of these things. You go through the ups and downs. You grow as a person. So literally the main thing is having a support of people, not just an echo chamber that's going to tell you what you want to hear, but people that are going to be upfront and authentic with you to tell you that, yo, okay, you don't want to go to school? Okay. You want to go do a trade? Okay. You want to become an investor, influencer, a YouTuber, such and such? All right. What's your first step?
exactly.
Where do you see that in the next 5 years? Even though we
Mm-hmm.
don't want to be too
Mm-hmm.
focused on the future and the past, we got to
Right.
at least know where we're stepping.
For going, yeah.
So it's
Mm-hmm.
put that all down. Okay, I want to get to 100 subscribers. Cool. Now, how are you going to get to the 100 subscribers? What
Right.
content are you going to give to the people? Are you
Mm-hmm.
going to be in it for the money straight off in the beginning? And if
Mm-hmm.
that's all you want to be in it for the money, you got to remember your why. Because if you only want it for the money, there's going to be times where it's going to inherently become a job. And
Yep.
people don't want to necessarily work where it's just, oh, it's a job. They want to bring some type of purpose and some type of value. So
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to your why, when you're doing stuff, you got to really know it and you got to really feel it. Money is going to come along with that. Don't stress on that. I get it because we're all money hungry. how society has ingrained that in us. But I've noticed myself too, when I don't push out for wanting to get money automatically, it comes to me from so
Mhm.
many different places just because I'm out here doing what I'm doing, and I know that it's going to come with that eventually. So
Mhm.
I don't stress on that part. I stress on the part more so of knowing my plan and working with that and finding the why of what I want to do. So
Mhm.
in the whole scheme of this social dilemma, I also see, I mean, relationships as another social dilemma going on, especially between all these different movements, whether if it's the, you know, other movement, I don't want to say, starts with an F. Y'all know the IST movement, as well as there's another movement for men, all these other different things. And
Right.
what I see with this social dilemma, adding on top of society to a point where a lot of things are becoming, people love to post a meme. And this reality is starting to become more of a virtual reality that's not even what we would say is actually happening in front of us. And we're slowly slipping away from the personal and the human
Mhm.
aspect of it. Whether, like I said, it's relationships and technology. It's gotten to a point where people don't know how to fully interact with people and coexist with people because of the fact that if we don't like the same things or believe or know the same things, you are now considered my enemy because of the fact that we don't agree on every single thing.
You know,
We've gotten to that point where we can't speak on stuff like that without somebody ruining a relationship because I said, oh, I don't necessarily believe in this, but I like this. Yes, Kundin. We spoke on it earlier, Kundin. I didn't want to give too many spoilers to the whole thing, but yes, the Social Dilemma is a Netflix documentary. I spoke on it a little bit earlier, but I'm also using it in a general sense of when Chris was giving examples of the social dilemmas that she was reading off there. But I wanted to tie it together to the point where a lot of, once again, society has been pushed into this fabric where we are becoming less human, less interactive, and we are letting these tools use us instead of learning how to use these tools to help better humanity as a whole. So that's my whole thing with the social dilemma on a lot of stuff. But I know you have something. Go ahead, Chris.
oh, I was gonna say, you know what that behavior is called? It's called being childish. We are adults. It should not matter if we don't agree on everything, because
Yes.
that's unrealistic to agree on everything. Like, I'll give you a
Yes.
personal example of my girlfriends. We got into a debate, you know, on the topic of how to discipline your children. Now,
Mm.
we are all later 20s. Well, I'm later 20s. They've hit they're in their 30s now. They hit that corner. So then we all don't have kids, but we like to talk about our ideals for like when we
Yes.
have a family. Now, my upbringing was very traumatic. You know, it was the generic black experience. You get whooped for everything. You know what I mean? That kind of
Generic.
like generic black. You know, I've been watching the reels on here where they do the
It's
impressions of
type one black
their
experience.
mom.
There's two, three, four, five, six. Get all the different flavors. Never mind. Go ahead.
I feel like everybody got beat though, or yelled at, or you know, like just like the mom. Like I watch a lot of the videos of making fun of like black moms and stuff like that because it's a
Yeah.
certain like way and attitude. But anyways, my point is like I understand that I will not just go ahead and outright beat my kids like how my parents did. First of all, context. I'm 28. My parents are boomers. Enough said.
Boom, boom, boom.
Enough said. I know around this age, a lot of other people, their parents are maybe what is that, Gen X, like in their 50s. My parents are damn near 70. So they were tired, so that they were taking from their generation, right? It's just
Yes.
easier to be a kid and then move on from the situation. Not saying that that is right. That is not what I am saying. I'm just
Yeah.
saying that is how some boomers operated, right? Or operate, right? So I'm not going to instill
Wait,
that
you
in
have a
my.
kid? I didn't know this. Who?
No, I don't have a kid. This is all
Neither of
hypothetical.
us.
We were just like me and my girlfriends were just like debating like what our like families would look like, how it would go, like if we had a
If we had a
defiant
kid,
child,
yes.
yeah, like a defiant child or something, right? So my perspective, no, I won't outright beat my kid, but there will be steps to it. I will add something my parents did not add, and that was the conversational part. That
Mm.
was the let's talk about this. Let me show you your errors, let you have your voice, and speak on it. But if the behavior does not change, and if you are being like wildly defiant, you may get a pow pow. You may get a spanking on the butt. You're gonna get it. I'll never like I won't slap him in the face, but you're gonna get a pow pow. You're gonna get a spanking. I don't have anything against spanking, but I do have something against straight up beating your children because there is a difference. And I know
Yep.
a lot of people disagree with me whenever I have this conversation. You just shouldn't hit your kids because then they won't trust you and then they'll just only fear you. And it's like, okay, there should be some level of fear. There should be that separation between you and your child. You cannot be your child's best friend. Like I remember that was one of the things my mom used to say all the time. I'm not one of your little friends.
Yep.
So don't talk that. There should be that difference.
Yep.
That's where it's about respect,
And
you
boundaries.
know, and boundaries, So that's one social dilemma. Me and my friends, we disagree completely. They think you should never touch your kids. Like, no, that's unacceptable. Ha ha ha. Now, it would be very childish of us to be like, well, we can't be friends anymore because we disagree on this. You know what I mean?
Mm.
We're a bit here. We are able to agree to disagree.
Yep.
Like, I hear you. I see from your perspective. I just disagree. Just because of like, maybe it's a value thing for them. Maybe it's a boundary thing for them. Maybe in this certain situation, they went through the trauma and their mindset is the opposite of like mine. Mine at first was like, oh, I'm never gonna hit my kids. But then as I started growing and working with kids, like I work with kids a lot, and you can see the different types of kids. Some kids are receptive, so yeah, you don't have to go pow pow a receptive kid. Some kids are not receptive. Some kids like to learn the difficult way. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's all case by case, situation by situation, household by household, and it would just make no sense, to like end your social relationships, so friendships or whatever, because you disagree so hard on like different topics. You know what I mean? We're all
Yes.
adults. We're not supposed to be cookie cutter. We're not supposed to have the same mindset. We're not supposed to see everything the same way.
Yep.
That's an unrealistic goal, in my opinion.
Very true. And in conjunction with that, we'll move to the last topic. We can give a little bit time on this, but I want to speak on because we're talking about that and kind of what you're speaking on when it comes to the hitting and fear and all of this. I want to
Mm-hmm.
talk about the signs. The last one, signs you are being manipulated, and how to really see that, and what when we speak on, we talk about manipulate. What does that mean? Because I know when we hear the word manipulate or manipulation or being manipulated, it's a very negative term. In some cases, depending on how you phrase it, yes, it can be seen as a more so when we think of it, it's more of a survival, tactic when it comes to certain things to be able to get around certain situations and manipulate it to the point where you become safe. So I understand it in that particular case when it comes to, manipulation, of being able to maneuver things to help where you're not going to end up in a life-threatening situation and you had to do some certain things. Now, the manipulation I want to speak on more so is more so manipulation that has to end up doing with the negative aspect of it so people can be able to see. So I see that manipulation can be seen in both senses, either on this side or that side. There's multiple sides, but I want to speak specifically on the negative impacts that manipulation can have on somebody and seeing those signs. So when it comes to the signs of when you're being manipulated, there's a few that at least that are coming. This is from the top of my head. I don't prepare any of this, y'all, so y'all can be like, oh no, you got it completely wrong. Please let me know. That's why we're here. I come here just giving the topics. I don't prepare before because I feel that that is fair for everyone else too. So with one of the signs that I see when it comes to you being manipulated, one of them is repeating rhetoric that you personally have not took into consideration for yourself, but you heard it from somebody else who's a reliable resource, and you keep repeating that rhetoric without knowing why you do it. So for example, literally you can say, for quote unquote abusive relationship or language, and you're in that with somebody and they keep using the word stupid, dumb, whatever, sorry, not any of that. This is not pertaining to anybody, okay? Don't get me YouTube, Instagram, all of that. But you use a lot of self-defeating words,
Right.
and so you go about and this person always says, well, yeah, you're nothing, you do, and you literally go and you do the same thing, even though your outcome is, say you wanted to be friend somebody or you want to do this, you're gonna come off speaking off saying, well, yeah, you ain't nothing, because of the fact that you got that from somebody else, thinking that, well, that's how they befriended you and how you got into a relationship with them, that you take that on to be like, all right, now this is how you get relationships with people until you do this, this, and this. But that's a sign right there, and you want to make sure that you're just not repeating things because somebody else has already put it in your head. This is how it's supposed to be done. So making sure that you're able to notice that.
Right.
Two, to notice that you're being manipulated is your time, and knowing how people end up taking of your time without you knowing, and distancing you from other people and distancing you from family and saying that this is for your own good. And for the most part, when it comes to that in time, we know, for me, that is a very invaluable source, because guess what? You can never get any more of it back. I can't go to the nearest bank or to the nearest market and say, yo, can you give me 100 on 5 more years? Like, no, that's not going to happen. Like, I'm not going to get time in life like that. But when people use that to manipulate you, you use your time and use your space and self to get you away from other people, so that of the fact that you're just there for them, and you think you're there for them because you've already thought of this rhetoric they told you, and now because you're spending that time with them, you thinking either the relationship is more deepened, or this is where you're supposed to be, and you spend all of your time with that specific person. And I'm not only using this in a sense of relationships and in a sense of just distancing yourself from just like just a relationship of one or two. This can literally be within a group of people. This can end up being a whole school of people. This is where we get indoctrination and different thoughts when it comes to thinking of manipulation and what that is. Let's see. Conan said, let's see. You said, I'm against spanking, hitting a kid in any way because of the consent issues, but I'm okay with lifting the kid and taking them back when it's home the time to leave, no matter how much they cry and scream. I feel that. Forgive us, algorithm gods. Yes, I know. That so crazy. Again, with the speech censorship. Come on now. OMG, covert narcissists do that. Yes, it's the first step before systematic gaslighting. Yes. So, I mean, once again, these are just signs. because once you start learning the signs, I've only just said two, with time and with the respoken rhetoric from other people, you start to see behaviors, because that's the main thing when it comes to people, humans, and stuff like that. For you to really address things, you got to notice the behavior, and you got to know why people are doing certain things that they're doing and the intentions that they bring with it. So when it comes to the manipulation, you have to get down to the main point too, before with all of the signs, is why. Is the why. Why is this person wanting to be manipulative, or to manipulate a certain situation? Is it because of survival technique? Is it because of the fact that their behavior seems very close to a narcissist, or it's not befitting for a great or positive relationship? Or is it just because they just want to ruin other people's lives? So like, you literally figure out, okay, what does that have to do in the whole scheme of things?
Right.
And I'll say one more, at least that comes to the top of my head. I know there's so many more signs to know that you're being manipulated. But the third one is literally doing anything that that person says, regardless of the repercussions. So basically, literally, if the person says, "All right, go get me something from the store," and but then you'll be like, "I don't have any money," the person be like, "No, I don't have the money. You just gotta go get it. I don't know how, but you gotta go get it." And literally putting you in a situation where it can not only impact your life if you decide whatever decision you're going to end up making, but it doesn't even set you in a good set to go get what is needed, to go to the store. Shoot, you want to end up what? People think about 5-finger discount. Or they're going to be like, well, I'm about to go sit outside the store and beg for money. Or literally they're like, I'm about to call up a family member. It's like literally doing all that you need to and can just to service that person or thing. And the thing is, what the crazy thing is, there's no quote unquote reward back for that. It's just you go do that. So it's almost like it's a slave master mentality type thing going on too with that. But I'm just gonna keep it at those three. If you have anything else, Chris, so it's not only speaking the rhetoric that's just repeated from the person, but it's also the time that you give and they take from you, as well as the things that they have you do, whatever the repercussions is and whatever it is. So those are only three signs right there that you are being manipulated. And how do you break out of this? It's very hard. It's very dependent on each person, but hopefully you have a great support system that's able to detect that and really get it into you some way, shape, or form. Two, you have a strong will in the beginning to be able to spot this stuff. And then three, if you find yourself in that situation, the great thing to end up doing is, to figure out that you're not the only one that may be dealing with a situation like this, and be able to do your research, to reach out to somebody. That's the main thing, is to reach out and get that support, whatever it may end up being. So with all of that, like I said, if you don't have anything, Chris, if anybody else doesn't have anything, please let me know. Throw them in the comments. But real quick, is there anything, Chris?
I was just like, Kundan summed it up. Like the whole time you were speaking, all I was thinking is like, yeah, gaslighting. That's like, I'm happy that's like a broad term now, because it's like fairly new for our generation. Like gaslighting, it sums it all up. It's all of those behaviors in one.
Yes.
And sometimes it's not apparent, but once you start to identify those three that you like broke down, then you can kind of be like, oh, are you gaslighting me? Am I being gaslit? What's going on here? And what do I get out of it?
Yep.
Yeah, but it also, you're right, it does also lead to codependency, especially in relationships. It does lead to codependency. So, yeah.
And like I said, this is not just only specific to just the relationship where it's just between you and a partner or a lover, whatever you want to say. This can also be done in a group. That's why there's a such thing as cults. There is a such thing as fanatics and fans of so many other stuff. But I just wanted to keep it in the general sense because people know about relationships. People are in relationships, whether if it's friends, whether if it's an intimate partner, whatever it may end up being. But these are just, like I said, only 3. There's so many other ways. You can Google this stuff and find it out. But this is just from my own perspectives that I've at least seen. And personally, some of the stuff I have experienced myself, especially as a kid. I was definitely taken advantage a lot because of my kindness of what I really wanted to do for people and not paying attention to people's intentions and what they were putting into me. So,
right. I feel that.
with that, y'all, current events, the social dilemma, stay aware, don't let it box you in, as well as when it comes to these signs of being manipulated, figure out the why the person doesn't and what impact that has on you. Other than that, I've been your brother A.D.V.I.S.S. This has been the sister Chris. This has been What's the Word Wednesdays, episode 4, the 2nd season. I appreciate and love everyone that's here today, that's been in the comments. I'm grateful for y'all and the time that you spent, and those who are going to watch it later. And to those on YouTube, come join. We get live sometimes, so come on. But other than that, peace, one, love, and we are out.